Hi everyone, welcome back to the Verbomanen podcast. This is a special episode because it's first because I haven't done an episode in a very long time, but also because the topic is a bit different. I have today actually a friend with me who is running for a position, and basically I want to give him the opportunity to a bit present himself for what he's doing and what he has to offer. So first, I guess let's start with, as you usually do, with a personal introduction. So if you don't mind telling us your name, age, degree or / study, work, what you do.
Okay, sure. So at first, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really glad to be here. Yes, I'm Luca Guidi. I'm 24 years old and pronounce he, him. And I am studying so my bachelor was in science of politics. Now I'm in a master degree in international relations. So yeah, that's me.
Great. And this is a very important question that I need to ask everyone just to get a bit an idea, where you stand, who you really are. Do you black socks or white socks?
Okay. I will tell you rainbow socks.
Definitely. Wow.
I will definitely go.
That's the answer.
Yes,
Great. Okay, so now you might, of course, this introduction was a bit, it was not very precise in the sense that we still haven't answered the question of why you're here today. So I guess let's go with that now. So what are you running for? Can you explain us a bit more? The name of the position, the organization, the tasks you will work for?
Sure. Okay, so basically, in the last years, I've been involved in Italy in the Greens, and especially in the Young Greens. Right now, I am co-spokesperson of the Young Greens of Italian Lazio region. As Italian Young Greens, we are members of a broader federation that's called Federation of Young European Greens. That's basically reuniting all of the Young Greens of Europe. And that's quite big. We are more than 60,000 people, more than 60,000 Young Greens from all over Europe. The position I'm running as is co-spokesperson, again, but of the Federation of Young European Greens. So again, at the European level. So yes, and the main tasks, of course, it's broad, but mainly, again, I really care about the name we have as position. Like this is not like this is co-spokesperson, meaning you have to bring really the voice of the people you are representing. Like officially, I would be, of course, like a member of the executive committee of the Federation of Young European Greens. But in case I'm elected with the other co-spokesperson, we would be the voice of, let's say, the executive committee that's representing all of the member organization of Europe. So basically, this is generally the main idea. But yeah, definitely the tasks are so many. And also, like last thing, very, very quick, it's that like a very technical point that, let's say, the executive committee that I would be part of if I'm elected is the, let's say, second most important body of the organization. The first one is actually the General Assembly that's reuniting itself every year. And that's the General Assembly that will be held in August in Dublin, in which I will present my candidacy. And so there is this first most important body, there is the General Assembly, in which every member organization is sending the delegates. And then the executive committee basically is taking care of the federation in between the two General Assembly, basically. So let's say that's the second most important body.
Yeah, so I guess if you will hold, in a way, a representative role, I guess then the point of this podcast, of course, is to give an opportunity to people that might be interested in your profile to understand a bit better who you are and what you stand for. So this is how this episode should be seen, as a sort of a platform for you to a bit express your views on certain topics that should be taken into account when making a decision. And so I guess let's do that then. Let's move on to those topics. And the first one I think we should talk about is probably the Palestinian cause, which is something that has created a lot of different opinions, some more valid than others probably. And so first, let's start with that. And I guess also within the Green parties, there is a level of heterogeneity with respect to the position on the Palestinian cause, because the position of the Italian party is not the same as the German party at the national level. And so a vote on the topic will probably be an opportunity for the Federation of Young European Greens to affirm or reconfirm a specific commitment to a line. And so can you briefly explain us a bit your position on the issue?
Yes, so thank you for like bringing on the table the topic, because it's really I would really say it's one of the main reason I'm running. I believe that it's like I wanted that issue to really be represented. Like in Italy, we are really, and not of course not only in Italy, but in Italy where I'm doing mainly my activism in Rome. It's something that it's extremely felt. We really have to acknowledge this. In last January, we were told by news, and I'm talking about last January, not yesterday. Last January, the amount of bombs dropped in Gaza were the same amount of 3 nuclear bombs dropped in Hiroshima on last January. It was 3 times the amount of power, of magnitude of power, as 3 nuclear bombs dropped in Hiroshima. 3 days ago, we had a study from again, I don't remember. It was an English newspaper, I really don't remember. It was a very important one. I still don't remember. Maybe I'll mention it later. But this study was telling us that around 8% of the Gazan population was killed, not dead, because this is like, what some journals are, the words are using some journals, like these people died just out of the blue. They were not killed. They just died out of the blue, using this double standard vocabulary. So this study was telling us that almost 10% of Gazan population was killed by the Israeli Defense Force, because this is the subject. The Israeli Defense Force is killing these people. And here we are on a clear violation of the international law. And that's really the issue. That's really the issue. Because if we have a world in which states start to really, can we say, to don't give a fuck of international law, this is going to make us, all of us, it's gonna put all of us in danger. It's gonna be a more dangerous world, because if every state start to say, okay, but I'm in a different position. Okay, this is the rule, but I can make an exception. Let's make an exception. And then we're making an exception every time. And every time we're making double standards. I think that's enough.
If you could sum up 3 points, you say 3 points your position on this, what should be done next?
Yes.
More or less.
So definitely, at first we need to really make Israel pay for what it's doing, because again, it's a violation of international law. So at first, we need Western countries to stop supporting automatically Israel, because this is what's happening now, that automatically, because of history of what happened, there is a sort of support of unconditional support for Israel, unconditional support, no red lines. Ursula von der Leyen and the last European Parliament was not putting red lines on Israel behavior. It's telling that you're defending yourself. That's all. Fair enough. So this is first point. Let's make him accountable, and let's stop supporting unconditionally. Second one, let's stop sending weapons to Israel. This is very clear. This is very, very concretely is gonna affect how Israel can really bring forward the attack, because if we condemn on one side and then we are selling missiles, we are, on the very, very least, at the very least, hypocrite, but I would say even a lot more if we're sending missiles and then we're saying, oh, Israel, you're a bad guy, Third one, we need to start with sanctions, honestly, because this is really, again, a world in which every state feels itself legitimate to violate international law and then to say, okay, but mine is a different position, it's a different case, it's an exception. All of us, we are going to live in a more dangerous world. It's all of us. It's all of us.
Great. Then moving back within the space of the European Union.
And sorry, just I didn't say it because I thought it was, of course, like for granted, but of course, ceasefire now, of course, and humanitarian corridor now, of course, and release of all hostages by Hamas, by Israel now, of course. This is I was giving it for granted, but of course, so I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
Yes, so then moving a bit back into the borders of Europe, a question that probably concerns you and you within as your position, but more generally, it's like just everyone in the Union, is this widespread feeling that what are known as non-core countries, so basically Southern Europe and Eastern Europe member states, are not sufficiently represented within EU decision-making. So let's start by an overview of the issue. So do you think this is still an issue today, this issue of representativity? And if yes, what are the root causes and what could be done to address it?
It definitely is, but it's like it doesn't. We don't need to ask it to me. It's like ask it to every person, like really from South of Europe, from Eastern Europe. Ask them if they feel enough represented. Like it's really something. Is like historically we are less listened to, less represented, and this is not beneficial for anyone because it's gonna make all of the, either if we are talking about the European Union, either if we are talking about the Federation of Young European Greens, if some parts of it are not fairly and enough represented, this is gonna make like all of us weaker. I mean, we are telling united in diversity every time, but then are we really? So this is the point. I mean, fortunately, at the level of the Young European Greens, we really put a lot on effort in it, and we saw it in the last years. We clearly saw it. The Federation of Young European Greens put a lot of effort in ensuring that there is a certain amount of regional balance, and this is something I incredibly appreciate. Like in every event, in every, I don't know, organizational team, every prep team of every event, whatever, really a lot of attention is put into ensuring that regional balance is granted. I want to ensure this continues and this improves actually, because still today we have some problems on that. I mean, this got better in the last years, got better, but that's definitely not enough. The East is not enough represented, it is not enough listened to. We need to listen way more to Eastern member organization as well as South member organization, especially because many times they are smaller emos. When we said in 2019 that in the European elections we had a green wave, that green wave was a center west, a little bit north wave. It was really there. I mean, it was not a European green wave. We need to be very clear on this. There's no reason we lie to ourselves. We need that green wave to be broader, bigger. Okay, so we have it just if we have really a proper regional balance, and that's what I want to represent as co-spokesperson. I want to be the voice of all of Europe clearly, and in the last months, years, I've been knowing people from every member organization, basically. So I really, and I will listen until the General Assembly. I will make the biggest effort I can make to listen to every of them, to listen to their problems, all of them. but especially my focus is, of course, in small member organizations, because this is like beneficial for all of us. If small member organizations are growing, are getting bigger, the whole federation is getting bigger. The whole federation is having a benefit from it. So it's really it's a win-win. It's for everybody.
Yeah, and maybe linking back to the green wave you mentioned.
Yes.
This at the same time in the previous legislature, a lot has been going on, and to some extent, some advancement, with their limitation, of course, have been made with respect to climate policy that probably hadn't been so substantial in the previous legislations. So let's maybe look at the past 5 years from a critical point of view, and let's see the role of the Green Party in the policy outcomes that we saw in the last 5 years. So what do you think were the main mistakes of the Greens in the EU, and the lessons that should be learned for the coming term?
So for everybody that is not very, just to make it clear for everybody that is not very into like reading a lot on EU politics, the Greens were not in the majority. So again, this is very important to say. We were in opposition with we were not in the, let's say, the government of European Union. That's the European Commission. We were not there. So of course, a lot was done in opposition still, because really we raised so much awareness on so many things, on the nature restoration law, on the abolition of unpaid traineeship. This is what we are fighting for a lot as Young European Greens. But on so many things, really, on the rights of the LGBTQIA plus community, but really countless things. In the past 5 years, really a whole lot has been done by the Green CEFA group. That's the group in which the European Greens are. The European Parliament is divided in different families, political groups, as we want to call it. The Green CEFA is the group of the European Greens. But and this is what we want to make sure for the next European Commission, that the mistakes that have been done by the last Commission will not repeat, because we've been asked to be part of the next EU Commission. We've been asked that. But for example, in what regards climate policies, Ursula von der Leyen said that the Green New Deal was our European man on the moon. It was our project. We should have been the ones guiding the world towards a more sustainable and fair future. Except in this man on the moon project, Ursula von der Leyen is like at halfway between the Earth and the moon, said, well, you know what? Let's go back. That's enough. So this is mainly the point. If the next European Commission wanna be like this, we will not be at their table. And this is true for many other issues. What we asked to Ursula von der Leyen is, again, some guarantees on the Green Deal, so to keep the Green Deal alive. But also we want Ursula von der Leyen to make clear that we will fight for democracy in Europe and against the far right, because this is weakening all of our European Union. And we want to make clear that she will not do what she did a little bit before and during the European election, telling, they are not that much bad guys, they want to attempt to our rule of law, they want to weaken our democracy, but you know what, they are not so bad, we will talk with everybody. You know what? No, we will not at their table. If this is the what we are talking about, we will not be at their table. So yes, we will see. We will see.
Yeah, and if I can add a small comment, I feel like the idea of being the leaders of modernization when it comes to sustainability sounds a bit colonialist, because that's literally what they were claiming back then. So I don't know if that's really the right approach to just. But yeah, we should advance, just maybe not have the arrogance of saying, teaching the rest of the world how to do their things. But yeah, so talking about advancing, so let's go maybe with a bit more inside in detail in the content of this future that we're trying to shape at the European level. Of course, there is some discrepancies between what the EU is doing now, also within the new Green Deal, and more generally when it comes to their economic policy, and what many have been considering the right way of transitioning to a sustainable economy. And one way of doing this is, of course, through what is called degrowth or the beyond growth movement. And this is something also that you are involved in, as you are part of the effort aiming at creating the Beyond Growth platform in Italy, the Italian chapter of the Beyond Growth platform, which already exists at the European level. And so I think let's do this. Assume I'm an econ bro. So I'm like, yo, yeah, finance. Oh, that's so cool. Wow. I don't know, cryptocurrencies. And so I ask you, why is post-growth, and what is post-growth, and why should we go against the consensus that more GDP equals better all the time?
So probably we're very two simple statements. So the first one, our planet and our resources are limited. This is very clear. I think everybody agrees on this. Our resources are not unlimited. We have one planet with physical limits. Not a single being in nature grows forever. And also on this, I think we agree on this. Nothing in plants, humans, animals, nobody grows forever. We grow, we arrive at a certain stabilization point, and that's all. This is not what has been happening in economy. And in the theory of economy that the system has been telling us for so much time. They've been telling us, let's grow, let's extract resources, let's produce more, let's consume more, we will be happier. This is that rhetoric. And what they're telling is all of this will bring us outside of poverty. This is a big lie. And they know that this is a big lie. This is a big lie, and data very clearly show it, that you can have a country that has a growing GDP and at the same time have a growing rate of poverty. This is simply because GDP doesn't tell you anything about how that value, how that wealth is really distributed among the citizens. GDP doesn't tell you all of this. It doesn't tell you if people are happy or not. If a person is having a car accident, GDP is rising because he's gonna pay, the truck to bring his car outside of the street. GDP is rising if that person is having an accident and is going to the hospital because more money are being spent. Is this the indicator we want to have or not? €1 of GDP growth, like €1 spent in solar panels, or €1 spent in missiles, is making grow the GDP in the same way. All of this during a climate catastrophe, it's simply a disaster. It's a disaster. If you're evaluating €1 spent in missiles or in fossil fuels or in coal or in petrol as €1 spent in healthcare, €1 spent in schools, €1 spent in renewable energy, if this is the same for us, I believe this is simply crazy. Like in an ecological and social emergency, this is crazy and is not bringing all of us outside of poverty. So why doing that? No, nobody's benefiting. Like few rich billionaires are taking advantage of this. They are getting richer, yes. Nobody else is. Planet is dying. people are more poor than this, who is benefiting from this? Bunch of billionaires. That's all.
Yeah, no, fair. I mean, unfair in the sense that this is not fair, but fair as
Really
the
unfair.
reasoning works very well. Great. So now I think we should wrap up because we've been talking for quite a while already. We've covered a lot of topics, but I think it can be interesting to help others understand and know you a bit better, to give them an insight on where your position comes from. So now, could you maybe, for each of the topics we have talked about, I'll tell you the topic and you answer me with the name of a book, a podcast, or content in general that has played a role in shaping your opinion on that topic. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Good. So let's start with the Palestinian cause.
Okay, so for the Palestinian cause, I would definitely say it's actually a book I've been reading, I read lately. There are so many actually interesting books on Palestine. It's really eye-opening. We all should read of it because newspapers are telling us really the last bit of history, and we should really go before of that. I would say On Palestine from Noam Chomsky and Ilan Bape. It's really you find it everywhere. It's sold millions and millions of copies. So it's really, yeah, I would say On Palestine from Noam Chomsky.
And okay, great. So then going to cohesion and representativity within the EU.
Okay, so about this, so I will tell you two, let's say. So if we are talking about the, let's say more the part of youth representation and having more representation, like that's something I really fighting a lot for youth representation and so on and so forth. There are a lot of very interesting articles on this on the from the Youth Forum. The Youth Forum is this umbrella organization for all the youth organizations, youth associations, and youth wings of Europe. They're writing a lot of stuff. They are really good guys, and they made some interesting articles on representation in the European Parliament of youth and of various different parts of Europe. So I would say that one for representation. Another one I will give it because I think it's something I read and it's extremely interesting. I would advise to read any book you will find from Alexander Langer. Alexander Langer was the founder of the Italian Greens, and he was the first co-chair of the Greens group in the European Parliament. So the first one, like when the Green group was created, the European Parliament, he was the co-chair of that group, and he was from South Tyrol, in which, of course, there is a very interesting part of his life. A huge part of his life was about living together between people with different culture and make them culture enrich ourselves. And so he studied a lot of this, and he focused a lot on the Balkans, a lot on the East, a lot on the Balkans. And it's very interesting. Every book he wrote, it's there is a big part of this in there. So it's really, I would really advise to read that. Yeah.
Great. And then moving on to the third topic, which was EU and green policy.
So about that one, there are so many. I would advise any book. For example, The Divide from Jason Hickel. So any book from Jason Hickel, he's amazing. Every book from Serge Latouche, also he's amazing. Yes, I would advise these two authors from starting with. But yeah.
And finally, I don't know if it's the hottest topic, but it's the one I like the most. Sure. Post-growth.
Yeah. So again, they're very interconnected because because Hickel and Latouche are talking about post-growth, but it's very connected to the Green Deal, to what kind of economy we're talking about. If you wanna, what is a green economy? Like if you want that stuff, if you want, a greener world, we need to talk about economy. It's literally the elephant in the room. So it's really, yeah. I would say that they are interconnected. So the authors are valid for both topics.
Great, perfect. So thank you very much for your time, and
so much for
wish you the best of luck. And so that's it. That's the end of the episode. Thank you very much for having listened to us. And do you want to leave maybe a contact, something, so if people have questions, can reach you somewhere on
Definitely.
some platform?
I'm on, for example, on Instagram. Of course, I'll answer you. It's my name, like Luca Guidi, ED. So that's really very, very easy.
Perfect. LucaGuidi. Voila. That's how you
Yes,
write it.
exactly.
Great. Perfect. Then thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.